Welcome back to Save the Nation. On this show, we often talk to our friends from the state of Arizona, where we have a lot going on this week and honestly all the weeks. And so today I want to dive into a couple of different topics that I know are important to you and important to our guests. So here we have Quang and also Steve Kaiser, both state representatives from Arizona. Thanks so much for joining me, guys.
Thanks for having us.
So Quang, I want to go to you first and talk a little bit about election integrity, because I know this is so important to our viewers, it's important to us at FreedomWorks, and the state of Arizona is really leading the way when it comes to voter ID laws and other sorts of things to really secure our elections. So can you give me a little bit of an update on what Arizona is doing right now?
Yeah, what's amazing about it is Arizona is the first state in the union to actually have an audit going on for the last election with a very thin lead in both the House and the Senate, 31-29 in the House and 16-14 in the Senate. We were pretty much able to pass major election integrity bills. One of them would be purging dead people from voting rolls. So that's a good deal.
Seems like progress there.
Yeah, absolutely. and we can't have that going on. We also have things that actually came out of Supreme Court rule for us. A couple of bills that we passed. I think one of them is collection of ballots can only be done by caregiver or relatives, and the other one that actually made it out there alive, which is I forgot. It's very simple. If you cast your ballots in the wrong precinct, they'll be thrown out. So those are the important things that we can look at. And also, when this audit comes out, we can look forward to, Steve and I will be working with the House members to make sure that we fix all those problems that we come up with this upcoming reports. And like I said, we're holding our breath waiting.
And I think the audit is very important to a lot of our constituents, both in LD1, which is in Prescott, Arizona area, and then I'm in North Phoenix, LD15. And it crosses party boundaries too. There's double-digit percentages of Democrats that think the audit is important as well. I mean, there's a lot of folks out there that feel their vote was stolen, their vote didn't matter, and we have to correct that right away.
I mean, I'm sure there are people obviously in support of this measure, but there are also quite a few people against it. What is their reasoning?
Well, usually the default argument is pulling out the race card, saying that we are disenfranchising people of color and so on. Mm-hmm. I can tell you right now, I'm not exactly Caucasian with a funny name and all, but I know how to vote on the right day. I know how to get my IDs, and I know how to do the right things. And so it's a false argument. Mm-hmm. And it's always defaulting to what happened to people of color.
Yeah. No, I want to switch gears a little bit to Proposition 208. Mm-hmm. And for folks who might not be familiar with that terminology, we're talking about taxing people with an income higher of $250,000 a year. Yeah. And the claim is that money is going to go toward education. Is that correct?
Right. That's the claim, and it's just a disgusting tax the rich shtick that we've all been familiar with. And they got it passed in Arizona. And they only got it passed on a 51-49 popular vote. And they lied to the Arizona voters. Shocking, right? They lied to the Arizona voters. They said this is not a business tax. That was like the first line in their proponent argument. And they said it's not a business tax. Small businesses won't be taxed. And what they didn't tell the voters was that small businesses are taxed as individuals, pass-through entities. So if you have a business and you have a net profit of $250,000, that $250,000 counts as income, but you don't take your net profit home with you as a business owner. That stays in the business to ride the ups and downs. And that, by the way, that's a 12-month extrapolation. So you don't have $250,000 in the bank, right, but you just got taxed on it because you're rich. Mm-hmm. And so it's just been fascinating to watch their argument disintegrate and watch their lies be exposed when we pass bills that say, okay, well, if this isn't a business tax, let's let small business owners tax themselves over here at the 4.5% that they were. No, you can't do that. And then when they do the numbers, they lose $600 million of the $800 million that they were going to be getting from it, because this is a business tax, because it taxes small business owners.
So what does this sort of tax on the rich do for the Arizona economy? I mean, I'm sure if businesses are being taxed, the costs are going to go up. I mean, what effects does that have for people that are, going to the gas pump, going to the grocery store?
So small businesses have been hammered this last year and a half through government shutdowns of their different businesses. And now the most successful small businesses are going to be hammered again, which means they're not going to be able to give raises to their employees, which means they're not going to be able to hire more employees, which means they're not going to be able to invest in that next piece of equipment or that extra marketing they need to do to get ahead and pull back what they've lost over the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, that's certainly frightening. And Quang, you and I were speaking before we started rolling about education. I mean, the idea behind this is to help education, right? Do you think that this is the solution, or is there something else that we should be doing?
There's never enough money for education. You can, this fiscal year, we put in, between federal and state, we put in $12 billion, over $7 billion of state out of the general fund. And we're looking at, what is it, 56, almost 57% of the general fund goes to education. What I'm looking for, I mean, I used to be a teacher myself. What I'm looking for is higher merit scores. You know, until you can prove that you can actually do that as teachers. I'm not knocking teachers because I was one myself. Right. So until that happens, I just don't see the point of, dumping more gasoline into a car that's already in the ditch before you did, pull the car out.
From the state, we put in another $900 million alone in new money to education. Didn't cut anything. And I get the opposition group's emails just because I like to see what they're saying.
Sure.
And they are still saying that we cut education. I mean, the lies are just unbelievable, and it just never stops.
Well, that seems to be a common trend on this show when we're talking about the government putting more money into problems, and it doesn't seem like those problems are getting solved. So thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you. Great.